Welcome to Principles of Microeconomics. I'm your instructor, Dr. Branley Stitzel. So I just want to begin, before we get into the details of what we're doing sort of on a day-to-day basis in this class, is give us a very broad overview of what economics is. Economics is the study of choice. It's the study of human behavior and how people interact. So Ludwig von Mises says that economics is the last science. And he says it's the last science because what has come before it and the things that you think of when I say the word science, things like physics or even mathematics, those things are studying a mechanical nature of the fundamentals of the universe. And other fields that study individuals, humans, are things like psychology. And in psychology, what they do is they study sort of the inner workings of the mind, if you will. And economics takes this mechanism view of the world. And indeed, Mises argues it is the fact that people behave in a certain manner, which may or may not be rational, but does function by reason, that makes economics a science and something that we can study. I'll talk more about that here in just a moment. So most people, when they hear economics, they're thinking about the economy. They're thinking about efficiency. Most people will say something like, it's about the study of money. And those things aren't fundamentally wrong. They're just an extraordinarily narrow view of economics. Economics is about how humans behave and how those interactions between them work out, how that orders society, households, businesses, governments. It's often the case as an economics professor, and in fact, it happened just this week. A salesman came to my door. Of course, salesmen want to build rapport with you, so they ask, what is it that you do? I told him I'm an economics professor, and maybe because if you're taking this course, you may not have yet taken another economics course, you might or might not agree with this assessment, but this is the one I get all the time. Either they say, that was really hard class, or they say, I didn't enjoy that class very much. And what they mean is, it was boring and or hard, and therefore I didn't like it. That's one thing that we're going to try to avoid in this course. But the way that we're going to do it is by teaching economics in a way that is philosophical in nature. And what I mean is, this is a science class, and now maybe you think, I don't particularly like my physics class. Didn't enjoy it, per se. But you have a hard time finding it boring. And the reason that you have a hard time finding it boring is you very much understand the applications thereof. So I'm going to do a bunch of things in this course, but one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lot of tools about how to view the world. When I have an opportunity to tell people why it is that I study economics, I always tell them one thing. And that one thing is, it is an unbelievably useful way to view the world. And when I first studied economics, I knew it's what I wanted to do. I'm hoping to give you some flavor of that as we move through this course. Specifically, this course is about microeconomics. And microeconomics is the study of human behavior, specifically at the individual or the household level. What we're going to be really focused on is the coordination aspect that happens within economies, that happens within interactions. More on that in a moment. The main things that we're going to be focusing on is choice. Why do we make these choices? Why do we see people make these choices? How do people evaluate and confront decisions? And what incentives are at play? Those will be huge themes all throughout the course. There are sort of two similar underlying, it's hard to say exactly how they relate. I think of them as true economics, and those are the fields of praxeology and catalytics. Praxeology is merely the study of human action, and it's not just the study of human action in the sense of any human action, but things we can understand about people, what's called a priori. So things that we can learn about people and their decision making from things that we know about them, rather than observing a bunch of things and quantifying a bunch of data, which is why I always say I'm an economist and not a praxeologist. Don't stress too much about the big words and definitions here. There's no exam questions over this. The second field that sort of underlies economics is what we call catalytics. Catalytics is the science of exchange, the evaluation and the analysis of how people engage in exchange. You're going to hear me say things about exchange over and over and over throughout this class. And principally, we'll be talking about mutually beneficial exchange. But there are many ways that we're going to discuss exchange. So welcome to economics, welcome to microeconomics, and prepare yourself for a dash of praxeology and a little bit of catalytics.